This is Roxy here from All Ours Forever. So I know everybody's getting ready for fall. Everybody's more than ready for fall and looking forward to it. In fact, I even did a quick little appearance earlier this evening at the Dollar Tree just to give you a little glimpse of what's going on in our Dollar Tree. They've got all their witches and pumpkins and everything getting started to get put out. But it's still summer. And one of my favorite things during the summertime is the beach. So I just wanted to take a few days here and do some crafts from the beach. So let's take a look. Put my glasses on here so I can see what's going on. So basically what I did was I took a couple pieces of scrap lumber. This one is an old fence board, okay? And I've put some basic paint on it. And I'll go through that with you. The fence board piece that I have is 5.5 inches wide, 13.5 inches long, and it's about an inch thick. The other piece of wood that I have, and these were just scraps because the professor is always building something, but this piece is a 1x6 and it's a 4.5 inches long. Okay? So I did this piece and kind of got it done for us so it wouldn't take so long to do tonight because there's a few steps involved here. So basically what we're doing is, because it's coming from the beach, we want this to look weathered. Okay, so that's basically the effect that I'm going for. Now you can do this a couple of different ways. I didn't bother to sand this wood down ahead of time, and this was a piece of an old fence board that I scavenged. One of our neighbors was taking their fence down and replacing it, and I asked for every piece I could get from it for different projects. So that's what this is. And the rougher the better. You can see it's got pieces missing out of it, and that's just fine. And it was red. And I'll go through the different layers that I painted it with you. This is what the back of the finished product is going to look like because I want it to look really weathered. Now I wanted mine in the brown and whitewash type tones. You can also do this with a blue and a whitewash type tone. And I even add a little bit of the brown in there, depending on what type of beach feel you want it to have. Our upstairs loft is in a beach theme, and I used the blue and white whitewash with a little bit of black undertones. Turned out really nice. So basically all I did was I took white paint. Now I'm going to use this for inside, but if you want to use this for outside, so I used just a latex interior paint, okay, white paint. If you're going to use this outside, besides sealing it to take care of the weather, you'd probably want to use some type of an acrylic paint. It'll hold up much better. Okay, so I just painted this a solid white, and then what I did is, and I used my oldest, grungiest brushes for this because we're just going to beat it up. Okay, so then what I did was I took some, I didn't have any just gray paint, so I used this silverish tone paint that I had. It's just a basic acrylic. And all I'm going to do is just make a bunch of streaks through it. I don't want it to be uniform. I just want to, and I just use a paper plate and I just dab some on there. And I just want to spread it. I don't care if it's darker in some spots, lighter in some spots. In fact, that's better, because weathered wood doesn't weather the same all over. It's darker in some spots, lighter in others. Okay, so you see what I did there. Hopefully that glare is not too bad. Okay, and then what I did was I took my brown paint, and I'm going to go the opposite direction against the grain of the wood. So I just went this direction. Again, I'm not doing a complete cover. I'm just doing some random brush strokes across it. We're just going to do a layering effect here till we like what we see. Okay, and I want my brown to be more the dominant color. Okay, all right. Now, the last color is white. I don't want it to be too white, so I'm going to offload a bunch of this paint off my brush. And this time I'm going to go the opposite direction with the grain of the wood. And I'm just going to make long streaks with the edges of my brush. And it gives it kind of a whitewashed effect. Okay, kind of like that. Hope you can see that. And then what we're going to do, get a little more brown paint here. So I'm going to go back over it with a little more brown. So I get some paint on my brush and then I just kind of dab the majority of it off. And I'm just making streaks, and this time I'm going with the grain again. Okay, and you just kind of mess around with it. I might even just take and put some spots all over it. Some darker spots. There's no right or wrong. You just kind of beat it up and just do it however you like. And depending on your preference, you want to add a little more of the silver in there. A little more of the brown. Just all over. And I've got a big old brush, and you're just going to kind of dry brush through that. Okay, you're not really, and you're just taking the edge of your brush. Okay, so there we go. So as you can see, there's nothing uniform to it. It's just kind of all different beat up. Hang on a second, I'm going to turn that light down behind here. It's kind of glaring. There, I think that's a little bit better. You can see a little bit better. So there's what my finished wood looks like. Looks like something from the beach. It's not uniform, it looks kind of weathered. Like I said, you can just kind of play around with it. The rougher, the better. You can see the sides aren't even going to be the same. You just kind of beat it up until you get it to where you want it. And if your wood has chunks out of it, that's even better, because you know that's what wood at the beach looks like. All right, so we've got that done. Turn your volume down for just a second, because I'm going to use the hair dryer and dry this. 1, 2, and 3. Thank goodness for hair dryers, huh? Okay, so there's our wood. We've got both pieces of wood. All right. Now what we're going to do is decide which is your front and which is your back. I don't know. I kind of like the really beat up this portion. I like that to be the front, I think. Okay, so turn over your back side. You have to decide, this is going to be a shelf. So you want to decide how far up on here you want it. Okay? I decided I'm going to need a measuring tape. And I got to tell you people, these little containers from the Dollar Tree are wonderful. They have some narrower ones, but I use the wide one. As you can see, I've got everything in it. I've got my glue in it, I've got my pliers, my wire cutters, everything is in this, and it's wonderful because everything's right at hand. So, I'm going to take, this is my back side of my board that I'm going to use. And I am going to go about 3.5 inches. Well, first let's go an inch and a half in. Okay? So that's about right here. And then I'm going to go about 3.5 inches up. So about right there. And I'm going to put a mark. Okay? Then I'm going to do the same thing. About an inch and a half. And just about 3.5 inches up on my board. Yep. That should do it. Okay. That's where we're going to drill. So, once again, it's going to get very noisy. So, go ahead and turn your sound down in just a minute. Professor wanted me to remind everybody, I'm sitting at our dining room table right now and doing this, and I don't want to drill into our table. So I'm just going to take a blank piece of wood and set it down, and a lot of you, I'm sure, probably already know this. And I'm going to set this piece of wood on top of it, okay? So I've got my spots marked where I need to drill my hole. Got my drill. Turn your sound down for a moment, please. Wonderful. Okay. So we've got our 2 holes drilled. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our shelf, set it right there. Got 2 screws. Wonderful little electric screwdriver. This one isn't as noisy. I'm going to get it started. Okay. Get this one started. So now what we're going to do, decide which side you want your shelf. And we're just going to hold it there. And we'll do one at a time and screw it together. See if I can do it like this. All right, let me turn this around here. The professor will be laughing at me over this. You know, he makes it all look so easy. There we go. Does that fella in your life like that too? There we go. That got it. Okay, make sure your shelf is straight. And then do the second one. Make sure that's going to sit straight. Adjusted just a little bit. Okay, so there we go. There's your shelf. Now, that's all good and fine. We've got a shelf. So the next thing we're going to do, because this is a beach theme, this little container came from the Dollar Tree. So did the sand. Now, the only sand I could find there was more of a white sand. If you wanted to put a little tea in with it, strain your tea and put the liquid in with it and dye it, you could get more of a tan color. But right now we're just going to use the white so that I can show you and move this along. And as I was saying, the professor, I'm sure, will just laugh and laugh and laugh at me when he sees my struggle to use the screwdriver and the drill, because it's just a second nature to him. But you know, I grew up in a household, I don't know about you, where I was never allowed to touch a power tool. My dad would never think of that. That was a guy thing, you know? So I had to learn as a young adult. when I got my first home all on my own, I was a middle-aged woman. I had to learn how to use a power drill. Still struggling with some of it. Okay, so we're going to put some sand in here. Fill it up about, maybe a little bit more. Okay. I'm going to set that aside. Now, they had these wonderful little packages, comes in a basket. With all the seashells in it. They had these at the Dollar Tree. They also have bags of seashells at the Dollar Tree. So basically, you're just going to pick out one that you like, one that really calls to you, and we're going to use it to decorate our shelf. So let's see. What do you think? So we could use this one. That's kind of pretty. Or we could use the starfish. I like that too. There's a larger one. I don't know. What do you think? One more time. Starfish. Seashell. I like the starfish. I like that. Okay? Oh, excuse me. All right. So, now we're going to take our E6000. We're going to put a little bit of E6000 on the back of our starfish. We got all sorts of noises around here tonight. We got cats crying and dogs barking, neighbors knocking, all sorts of things. Okay. If you're going to leave this inside, you could also use a hot glue gun. I just happen to have the E6000 here with me. And I always keep a little craft stick. Okay, so I'm just going to position that right there. Taking the extra off. Hold that down for a few minutes. Probably would leave it sit for about 24 hours before I do anything too exciting. We're going to leave that set aside for a minute and let that dry. Now we've got our container with our sand in it. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can either take a real votive and set it down in the middle of the sand, like a such. Take a fake taller votive, or you can do what I think I'm going to do, and I'm just going to take one of the little tea lights and put it down in there. Okay? Then what I'm going to do is I've got, without talking about the ocean, talk about ropes. You talk about weathered wood, seashells, sand. So I'm going to take a little bit of this, and I think, yep, Go around a couple of times here. And then I'm just gonna put underneath like such. Pull it tight. Make a big old knot. Okay, like such. Now you could tie a bow in it, however you like it. But for me, the ocean, the sea, says knots, it says rope, it says sand. You always gotta have candles, you know? A little bit of seashells. So then all we're gonna do is go like such. And there you go. You've got your simple ocean decor. Weathered piece of wood. All right, and then you can just put on the back side of this, just put a hanger, and you can hang them up. You know, I saw this on Pinterest. Very, very similar. Almost identical. A pair for $73. Okay, now come on, people. This is 2 pieces of scrapped wood, very little paint, not much time. Seashell, a part of a seashell group from the Dollar Tree. The container came from the Dollar Tree, the sand came from the Dollar Tree, and the votive candle, the little tea light, nominal. And my little twine is just a small scrap from Walmart. So there you go. For about $10, you got a really cute beach-themed shelf. I hope you enjoyed it. Hi, Professor. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope if you do something similar to this, you'll show me your variation. Show me your creation. How did it turn out? Did you like it? What do you think? All right. Hope to see you next time. And for the next week, we're going to be doing all beach themed. And then we'll switch gears to fall. All right, don't forget to check us out at allarsforever.com. Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, we're on Instagram for Poolside Chat with Roxy. On Mondays and Fridays, we are doing Talkin' Dirt on Instagram in the afternoons. And of course, we're here on Facebook. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, check us out soon. See you next time. Bye.